What is up, everybody? You already know what the deal is. You see what it is. You saw the thumbnail. It's going to be a big, amazing episode today of the Basketball Truth and Knowledge. I'm your co-host, Aramis.
Ray Daniels.
And of course, you got my boy, Uncle Ramon, in the building. We are back like we never left. I'm so excited for today's episode today, and I know my co-host is excited for today's episode. We've been talking about this even before the finals even started, that we knew it was going to go down, and it went down. So let's go turn this music off, because the way we're going to get into today's episode, we're going to talk about some up and downs on what led to this point in the finals and how it ended. So we're going to break it down from the Pacers side and from OKC side. I'll take OKC side and you'll take Pacers side. So
okay.
I want you to give a rundown on what happened with Pacers this whole playoff series and their first official appearance in the finals since Reggie Miller. Like I want you to break it down for me, like the loss for them. So you go ahead and start off first.
So in my perspective, great series, went down to 7. I didn't think it would go on 7, but they surprised me when it went down to 7. Mm-hmm. I had OKC to win, obviously. They tough. They just really tough. But what I will tell you is that Pacers had an opportunity, and I think that the difference in the series was Halliburton. If Halliburton doesn't go down with that injury, the way he had to start, he started off very hot. If he wouldn't have went down to injury, who knows? We would probably be having an upset. But that was the difference, because right at that time, they had all the momentum in the world. Even going into halftime, they were up by like 3 or 4 going into halftime. And then once they made some adjustments and all that, without Halliburton on the court, it was just a tough road to climb. So, hats off to Indiana, Indiana, because they definitely, if Halliburton might not got hurt, I'll tell you, it could have been a different outcome at the end of the night, because they definitely came in punching OKC right in the mouth off the gate.
100%. Yep. And definitely prayers up for Halliburton, man. He injured his calf. I think it was game 5, and then game 6 he was supposed to be a multi week of rest. Like he's supposed to be out, but he ended up suiting up for game 6 and came out with a victorious dub. And then when he walked into game 7 at Oklahoma, and just, he played 7 minutes, had 9 points, and then off that, I think it was like a turnover of OKC or a missed shot. He came up with the ball. He was trying to, drive the ball to the basket. And if you look,
it's like a freak injury, kind of like popped his Achilles. But it's the same thing that happened with your boy in Boston and the other kid. They were saying it was kind of freak. Tatum got injured the same way, and then what's the other guy's name? And
I think it was Tatum, Halliburton, and I think it was Edwards, right? Hold on, let me see.
Yeah, there's 3 of them that hurt. Freak injury, and when you look, he just popped it on it. He was just making a cut move, a jab step, and popped it.
Yeah. When they replayed it, I saw it. I'm like, how did he hurt it again? I'm like, you gotta run the replay on that one, because I have to see how this all happened. The way he drove, his leg was extended back, and he put so much pressure on it, and that it just popped. I saw it pop, and I was like, oh yeah, that's not good.
Yeah, it's unfortunate, because, like I said, if Halliburton doesn't go down, clearly, I ain't gonna say clearly, because it would have still came down, but they would have probably had a even better, a super chance of changing the outcome of that game.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, it only lost by 11, but to me, the difference was they ran out of gas, just down the
Yeah.
stretch when you needed a person you could rely on. Where what's the guy that won the MVP
Shai.
uh, for OKC?
Yeah, Shai. Gilles Alexander.
Yeah, Shakes.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, when they needed buckets, he was the guy, and you
Mm-hmm.
know what I'm saying. So this they just didn't have it. And the other guy, what's his name for Indiana? Uh, I can't think of it. The one who won the MVP for the MVP going into the for the Eastern Conference.
Oh, it's about Siakam.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Siakam.
Pascal.
So
Yeah.
he was doing what he could do, but you need a 1-2 punch, and
Yeah.
shout out, because when OKC won, the boy gave shout out to the other kid because they said without him he couldn't have got there. So you always need a 1-2 punch or sometimes a 3 punch. So they gave us everything we wanted. So the only thing we can say is if Halliburton didn't go down, we might have had a different outcome. But that was an excellent series, 7-game series. No complaints about that. Somebody
Yeah.
had to lose, so and here you go.
Yeah.
They gave us everything we wanted.
Yeah. 100%. And I want to give a special shout out to TJ McConnell. He stepped up a lot off the bench behind Tyrese Halliburton. He really put the work in the gym and on the court. He poured his heart out on there and just balled out like crazy. So
Right.
really, honestly, if Pacers would have won that series without Halliburton, you got to give it up for TJ McConnell because he and Benedict Mathurin, both of them really put the work in and kept up with OKC and
Right.
like it was just unbelievable to see those two shine even after the fall of Halliburton and to see the Pacers still be like be in the run to compete and rise up. So and that's the thing too because when you watch a really good team with a really good superstar on that team falls down, it is your job, it is your opportunity to rise up and keep going. That doesn't mean you lose, like you use the mindset, oh, we lost our player, now we have no chance. No, you have a chance. You have a
Yeah,
chance to keep it pushing. You fight to the very end until that clock hits zero. And
absolutely.
that goes for and like we talked about who were the three that got the Achilles injury. It's Damian Lillard, Halliburton, and Jason Tatum. You know?
Yeah,
Each
yeah.
team who has ever had an injury throughout the past years has fought their hardest until the last minute until that clock is zero.
But
And
what's so crazy? All three of those same injuries happened on, what looked like a freak accident, and then
Mhm.
they all happened this season, this playout, which
Yeah,
is weird.
yeah. 3 star, 3 torn Achilles, all in one postseason. All three.
Yeah, that's really weird.
Yeah, yeah. That is weird.
Great series though. I've no man. Listen,
Yeah.
everything you wanted. Bench players stepped up, and rightfully so. They had no choice, to even give us the series we saw. Somebody had to lose, and Forger was Indiana. But like I said, if Halliburton doesn't go down, they could have been either way. Because when you get it down to a 1-game series, anything's possible.
Anything's possible. Anything.
Yep.
100%.
What
Um.
happened with that trade? Though I heard the trade that Durant going to Houston.
Yeah. Well. Hold on. Hold on. Let's go to OKC spot real quick, and then we'll
Okay.
go to the trade real quick. OKC so far, and I've heard this again before since last year. Oh, Boston had a sunshine run where they had an easy route, to get to the get to finals. Okay, seem to have an easy route to get to the get to the finals. No run is ever easy. Okay, no run is ever easy when it's your time to get to the finals run. Now, okay, so you had to face Memphis, which was an easy run because Memphis was not beating OKC. Okay, so that was easy run
Right.
for them. Now you face Minnesota. That that was a somewhat good run with Minnesota, but it's just they couldn't keep up, with OKC. Now now you go to the finals and you got the Pacers, which is by far one of the best Game 7 series since what 20 since what like 2016 since Golden State and Warriors run.
Okay. That's
We've had
fair.
we haven't had a Game 7 series in the finals for that long.
Right.
So by far, nobody can say that this wasn't a good finals because it was.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, nobody, they'd be out of your mind if you said that. You got a
Right.
game. Anytime you get a game seven, it's a game seven. They don't happen
It,
too often.
that doesn't happen too often, and I want to give flowers to Shai really stepping it up too as well. But my key thing is too, like I almost lost hope for OKC too because when I'm watching Game 6, the world doesn't revolve around Shai. If Shai is in trouble, somebody got to step up. Okay, like somebody has to at least show some kind of effort at all. Like y'all look like y'all wasn't playing how y'all want to play. Y'all were just allowing them to get turnovers. Y'all were allowing them to get points off turnovers. Y'all were allowing them to get rebounds over y'all. Y'all weren't blocking out. So really, you were lucky enough to make it to Game 7, and then you fought hard in Game 7 at home because you never lose at home. OKC is pretty much they got a phenomenal record at home. They don't really lose that much at home anyways. But it was really up to Shai that the reason why OKC won. The reason why he got conference finals MVP is the reason why he got finals MVP because he is the star player. He's the key of winning a finals with OKC. And I actually wanted this to happen. The reason why I wanted Shai to win it for Thunder because it's something that Westbrook, KD, and Harden couldn't do all three of them together, or just Westbrook and Kevin Durant. Now
Yeah.
this will make Shai, and I know people are probably gonna get on my bumper and be like, "Bro, you're talking crazy for this." What I'm about to say is true because this is something that didn't happen for 17 years since 2008 when they moved to Oakland. I mean when they moved to Oklahoma and became OKC Thunder. He brought a ring to that city for the first time. I'm gonna call him one of the greatest Thunder of all time with Westbrook, with KD. You got to put him in that category. You have to because he checked off every list. And Kevin Perkins say, "I'm going to add Shai to that list where to stand with LeBron, Curry, KD, and a few others because he's on that list because he checked off everything. He got an MVP season. He won on a 68 win team. He got a Western Conference MVP, a Finals MVP, and a ring,
Right.
and a scoring title, Like
Right.
all that in one season. You cannot tell me he is one of the greatest Thunder of all time.
Absolutely. From a perspective of the Thunder, absolutely. I agree with you on that.
100%.
Now does he get into the conversation the greatest, in the league, period, then that's, he still got to add to that. And
Right.
right now with the style of basketball he playing, we could see a lot of, we could see opportunity for them to get another chip that's provided the team stay together.
And
So
they're
now
young.
this is where it gets sticky if they gonna stay together or not. Because now everybody got a ring.
Yeah.
Can you play together? Now can you stay together? who going to sacrifice because contracts is coming up. They somebody gonna want more money and so on and so forth. But here we go. So shout out to OKC though. They finally got on the in the conversation that they even got a ring. I think that's the first time in the history of the organization. So
Yep.
excellent for them. But now are they going to stay together? And is the owner going to, you know, set it up to pay? Because remember, OKC is not a huge market.
He's
It's not
not
like
his
a New
market.
York or LA or
Nope.
so any of those kind of teams. So
Yeah.
we'll see how it go. But that's not to say nothing because Golden State Warriors wasn't a huge market as LA and neither, and they still,
Nah.
had their dynasty run as well. So we'll see. But I
Yeah.
definitely like the way that they coming on and I like the way that the GM has been managing the team because the GM for OKC has always been keeping those teams young and in contention. And just the problem is they can't keep on holding them even back when they had Durant Harden and them they just couldn't keep them because as soon as everybody got lost in that last when they had their opportunity, the whole team split up right the next year.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah. And another thing too that I want to say this too before we go on to the Kevin Durant trade. Um, I don't want fans thinking that OKC only won because Halliburton got hurt. I don't want to hear that mess.
I can't say that. I mean, because that's the nature of the game. Injuries is part of the game. So
Thank you. Say that again. Say that
you
again,
know,
bro.
injuries is part of the game.
Thank you.
If
Thank
we
you.
was able to play with everybody 100% healthy, and
It'll be
then that would change the whole dynamics of
right.
sports. Period. So again, injuries is part of the game. It's unfortunate because Indiana had an excellent opportunity with all the momentum in the world to steal that chance to win a chip. You know what I'm saying? But again, injuries is part of the game. It's just unfortunate, but nothing you can do
Exactly,
about it but accept that. That's part of how it go.
bro. That's all I need to hear because every time I double back on these kind of situations when it's the NBA finals, I get so annoyed about the finals because when it ends, that's all I hear is like, oh, well, um, this team had a bright, like run where like they didn't lose anything or they're beating up on injury teams. Like no, like
I mean, we love the fans, and without the fans, we don't have the game, and without the
yeah, of
players, you don't have the fans. Vice
course,
versa, however you want to put it. But at the end of the day, you know, we all know what it is. If you could take every player at the max capacity with no injuries, we'd have a lot of different outcomes. But
yep,
unfortunately, it is part of the game. So,
it
but
is.
those are those diehard fans who say, "Hey, man, I love my players, I love my team, and woulda, coulda, shoulda." But at the end of the day, just like the Bills, same shit. We got there, lost four, can't get this, can't get that. But that's all part of how it goes sometimes. And the chips gonna fall where they fall. And but we just happy that from a span perspective, we had a great series, and hopefully those players will come back and be stronger next season without injuries.
100%.
That's the same shit with Kawhi. Kawhi Leonard, excellent player. He
Oh
got
yeah,
his ring, and then now the problem with this: can he stay healthy enough to finish the series? He always get hurt. Same thing.
yeah,
So they could say the same thing. Kawhi could have been the LeBron James or the Michael Jordan, but at the end of the day, injuries stopped his career. Look at how many teams where you have a player that's all world without injuries, and then but when you put the reality of it is the injuries take away from.
exactly, 100%. And I can definitely agree with that too because I've seen a few quite you know talented players who've been in that same situation and then they ended up having a ending season injury or just fall apart. And
Yes.
I speak on that because Chet Home Chet Holmgren, they're he played phenomenally too as well. He was injured his rookie season. He didn't play his rookie season in 2022. He was out his whole rookie season. Then comes back healthy to compete for a ring, and he finally got one. So
Mm-hmm. Well,
for
people don't
shit.
understand it's very hard to go through a whole season. How
Yes,
many, it's what, 82 games plus playoffs, and
yes,
it's a long season, bro, long season. So,
yep.
you have to take care of your body, and even when you take care of your body, some of it come with a little luck. You just, hope that that injury don't come, because injury can come in all kind of ways. Even look with Halliburton, nobody even touched him. He just
Nobody touched him.
jab stepped and blew his own ankle out,
Yep,
so
yep. So I
Achilles
want to
out.
hear.
So
Yep. So I want to hear everybody saying,
you're gonna
"Oh,
have that.
yep,
There's nothing wrong with it. People are always gonna say woulda, coulda, shoulda, and if this and that, and you entertain those things. But at the end of the day, the bottom line is just unfortunately it's part of the game.
so I part of the game. So I part of the game." Um. Okay. You want to get into the Kevin Durant trade now?
Yeah, let's get it, KD, because I probably got about 10
Okay.
more minutes, and I got to get out here to the beach.
Yeah, of course, man. Of course.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
just but I definitely gonna make sure that I take time out, and sit down. I missed like a couple weeks, but you know how that go. Sometimes be busy, but I definitely wanted to make time out today because that was an awesome NBA series and the final. We got everything wanted. We always won a game 7, and
Oh,
then so that's why we played the game to have the opportunity. So we just glad it wasn't a sweep, because if it was a sweep, it'd have been terrible. Because now it's over. Now we watching baseball.
yeah. Yeah. Now we watching
You know what I
baseball.
mean? And then football's coming, but football don't even kick off until August. So,
Yeah.
that's the only unfortunate thing, So we got the maximum amount of games that we could get for the basketball season to conclude. So, shout out to Indiana and OKC, for giving us everything we needed, and 7 games to watch so we can watch every ounce of basketball to the end of the season.
Yep. All right. All right. So this isn't breaking news, but it happened yesterday. To all the fans of the NBA, to all the Rockets fans, I'm pretty sure y'all are excited to have Kevin Durant on y'all team. Um, this is something I want to dive back to my last conversation that I had with you guys. I initially said that KD is in the talks for trades. Remember we had that conversation
Yeah.
about trades. I initially said to you guys that KD is oh snap. KD is in that conversation for a trade rumor, and everybody's talking about the new chapter of where he's going to end up at, or is the Suns going to open up a deal for KD to stay with the Phoenix Suns, another run. Hopefully they can compete better. Honestly, it's not getting nowhere for Kevin Durant. It's not in the front office isn't doing anything right now with that Phoenix Suns team. And there were other teams like I think it was LA Warriors, Rockets, Suns, um, the Knicks. There were a few teams. Oh, and the Spurs. Those are teams that were rumored for K to get traded to. Now, I
Yeah, but
initially said
if you look at all the teams you said, he's not going to go to the Knicks because he already
no.
did the New York thing. So I didn't think that would happen. It would have been nice to see, but he already went to New York with Brooklyn, so I knew that wasn't going
Yeah.
to happen.
Yep. 100%.
Um, he wasn't going to go back to the Warriors because the whole Draymond thing, that's not going to ever
Yeah.
happen again.
I knew that wasn't
So,
gonna happen.
some of those you have to X out. And then if you look at it, the only two attractive he wasn't going to go to LA, because at the end of the day, you can't have Luca, LeBron, and KD because all
Yeah.
of them want touches. Where's your defense? LA needs to focus on getting a big man so that somebody can solidify the paint. We won't get into that conversation.
Yeah.
You know, like we talked about Dwight Howard, and they need that kind of player who's going to be a rim protector and your rebounder and a defender, because that's where LA's missing. So that's not KD. So the only two attractive ones to me would have been Houston or San Antonio, which is my team. I love San Antonio, but if you look at the two of them, which one is closer to winning a chip? And you would have
Mm.
to say Houston.
Houston probably a better spot.
You know what I mean? So, Spurs is, I love with Spurs, and they got the alien, and, you know, they got the big man, 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 and, you know, they CP3, but and CP is just an old veteran still trying to keep the young boys together until they
Mm,
get a nucleus. So KD to me in that situation would have been like, it would have probably been more similar to the OKC. I mean, to the run where he was at with the team he would now, and so here we are. So I think that Houston trade, because now that automatically puts Houston, because Houston already was tough. That automatically gives them an opportunity now because they got good defense. They just need some more
100%.
people that can say down the stretch, who's my clutch guy? And there's no other clutch. Clay D is one of the most clutch players in the league, period. So if he can stay healthy and you add that to the Houston, somebody gonna be in trouble.
100%. 100%. Yeah, I initially said Rockets from the start, but it was as rumored that he was supposed to go to Rockets, and then the second team in mind was was Minnesota, but that was like a 25% chance he was gonna go there. So that
If he would have Minnesota, that would have been tough too. But
yeah,
that would have been a power move too. So then
yeah,
that just came off who could pull it off because Minnesota or Wichita would have been good.
Rockets would have been yep. Either Rockets or Minnesota would have been two good teams he'll probably be a part of. But um, I wanna
What you say?
I wanna tell you the trade that went down, and I want your opinion on that. The Phoenix Suns are trading a two-time NBA Finals MVP Kevin Durant to the Houston Rockets for Jalen Green, Dylan Brooks, the number the number 10 pick in the 2025 draft, and 5 second-round picks. Source tell ESPN. What do you think about that?
Overpriced. It's too much.
You
They
think it's
they
too
loaded the
much?
boat. Yeah, I wouldn't have gave all of that for KD. KD is nice, but that's a lot. The only problem I have with KD is because you just hope he don't get hurt.
Yeah. That's what I really kind of
He got
like.
hurt before, and then so now he needs to go on a team where he can't carry the load. So they gave up a lot. So that means that to me that's saying that they betting the ransom to say that they can make the finals this year, this next
Mm,
coming season. That's what they betting on.
yeah, I mean,
Just think that was a little too much for KD, just a little bit. KD's on the decline of his career. Not to say he's not where he was when they won a chip back when he was with Golden State. He's not that KD, but he's still not far from that.
100%. Yeah. I honestly don't think it's. I think it's a decent trade, but the but the draft picks are insane, bro. That I feel like that's way too much because in my right mind,
I kept one of the guys that's on the team in draft picks because you got to remember those draft picks, man. Listen, let me
I
tell
would
you
have
something
kept
about the
Jalen
draft.
Green.
Yes, I'm saying I'd have kept one of the players. The
Right.
draft picks is the draft picks because you can say,
Yeah.
hey, that player can still going to take 2-3 years to develop and all that. It's the players, you can say, give me some draft picks. Okay, fine. They should have kept one of the players at least. I don't think they should have gave them all three.
Yeah. No. All three is like
Yeah.
that's
Let
insane
me tell you,
because
the difference between a guy who's being drafted, and that's just luck of the draw, because you can have some first round picks that don't pan out to be crap. Then you can have some that be a good journeyman, a good support player, and all that kind of stuff. And then most of the time, those players will take 2 or 3 years to develop. Versus you got a guy who's already on the team contributing. That means he's already got through the curve and he has a role that they can count on, either defensive plays, buckets, whatever you want to do. He's in the rotation as a solid player, and you gave up three of
yeah. Um. Here's another one.
them. We'll see
Huh?
what happens. I think Houston is they throwing it all in to see what they can do.
Yeah. Okay. So here's another trade where I think was phenomenally bullcrap. The Orlando Magic acquired Desmond Bain from the Memphis Grizzlies in a trade on June 15, 2025. In exchange, the Grizzlies received Contavious Caldwell Pope, Cole Anthony, and 4 unprotected first round draft picks, along with a first round pick swap. The picks include one from the 2025 draft, another in 2026, and 2 more in 2028 and 2030. The pick
Wow.
the pick swap option is top 2 protected in 2029. How you feel
Wow.
about how you feel about that one? I
I
think
don't
that's
because I don't even know who them players is. So I have to go back and do some research on that trade because
yeah, but
maybe it's something I'm missing.
yeah,
Because I don't know about that one.
yeah, I'm kind of missing that situation too because I'm kind of confused right there. But bro, like that's five
Maybe it's
picks.
something we don't know because that's crazy.
Yeah, that is crazy to me, man.
You see,
Five
I got
picks, bro.
it's beach time, beach time.
Yeah, you
This
already know, yeah.
what's one more week before I get in it? I got to cut it up. I'm ready. I got to get out here to the beach. I don't leave my peoples out here too long. But
All
this
right,
was man. Give me one
yeah.
more quick.
Okay, okay. All right. You know what? We'll end it off right here, but we're gonna do a little bit of a uh segment real quick. So I got two things.
Okay.
One is we will do a draft day episode, but here's the thing: we we will watch the NBA draft, which is Wednesday and Thursday,
Okay.
and then we will do a episode on Sunday, which which
Okay.
I which I know you'll be in Buffalo. So so
Oh, you
so
mean for 4th of July? Not this week. You're talking about the following weekend.
the
4th of July is 2 weekends away.
oh, okay. Well,
Yeah.
all right. Well, I mean, yeah, we'll do we'll do an episode on Sunday, and then we'll do another one that following weekend. But
Okay.
we'll do a draft episode Sunday to talk about Cooper Flag or which team he's gonna go to and everything. And
Right. He
then
going number one. Who got the number one pick? Oh, Dallas. He going to Dallas. 100%.
100%.
There's no way they don't take him. That's tailor made for him. That's the kind of team that picks those kind of players.
100%. Yeah.
So we already know that's not even. I would bet the ransom he goes to Dallas because they're not gonna let that go by.
Bro, if they don't, Spurs are gonna pick him up regardless, man.
Oh yeah, well they don't want him to go to Spurs because that's going to be trouble. That's over. It's over. They're going to run down. They run Texas forever if that happens. So
Yeah, yeah. If
Spurs,
they go,
Dallas,
yeah.
Mark Cuban still is part on that team with that organization. So he's not going to let that get by because that's
No.
Jersey there. And plus that's the get back. We ain't gonna get into the conspiracy, but you gave up Lucas, so who you gonna get for him? So we already know.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Well,
Conspiracy theory, but you already know if you lost Luca, you're gonna somehow they're gonna wash your hand to get you back somebody.
100%.
And it's a white boy replacing a white boy. So come on now.
Yep.
We ain't gonna get into all of that. It ain't being about a color barrier. It's just that you're not gonna lose that kind of player and not replace him. Period. Because how would you lose him to begin with? That's a whole nother story. So that's the play.
Yep.
And I will leave it at that. Cooper
Yep.
Flags going to Dallas because they lost Luca for however that happened, and that's the replacement that the NBA has set aside for Dallas.
100%.
Period. However you want to say it happened, that's the play.
100%. Okay. All right. Well, fans and members of the Bastard for Knowledge, I hope you take time to watch this live and give us your opinion on how you think about the NBA Finals and the OKC Championship. Um, Let us know. Like please, DM us on Instagram, Facebook. I'll put our links in the description so that you can reach us and definitely ask us questions. Um, if you want us to speak on that during Sunday's next show, we will do that. Um, and if you want to come on the show as a guest, let us know. We will add you on here as a guest, and we will speak to you and
that'll
give
be tough. Let's get some.
yeah, 100%. But
All right, cool.
but then let's go start the music up. You already know what it
Hey,
is.
go Bills. Go Bills. You see my
Yes,
Bills.
yep. Go Bills, man. Go Bills. All right. You hear the music, you already know what it is. This is the end of today's episode of the NBA champions of OKC Thunder and Finals MVP Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. It's time to wrap it up. I've been the co-host of the Bastard for Knowledge with my co-host
Ray Daniels.
and we out this joint. Peace, y'all. Have a good day.
I am as but have a go. We gonna see you on the 4th, baby. 4th. We're gonna do one live.
Yes, sir.
All right, one.
All right.